Welcome to Hustle Culture. My name is Andres Tagliaferro, and this show is all about talking to everyday business owners about what they do and why they do it. In today's episode, we talk to Ruben Garcia Jr., a creative-preneur who designs websites and apps by day and runs an event-based coffee truck business by night. Not only do we talk about how Ruben started Goodnews Cup and the challenges that come along with owning a coffee-based business, but we go into how to deal with failure, the best way to meet new people, and so much more. I hope you get at least a fraction of the value that I got talking to Ruben by listening to this podcast. Enjoy. This is Hustle Culture, a podcast about, just talking about business. I don't want it to be too crazy in-depth about business, this, finance, that. I'm just having conversations with business owners that I know who are killing it. And today, I have the treat of having Ruben Garcia Jr. on the podcast. And if y'all don't know who he is, you should.
Please insert the clapping.
Oh yeah, there'll be for sure. They'll
insert now.
There definitely won't be a boo or trash being thrown.
I want clapping.
It'll be clapping. But,
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So there's a little intro to play, but Ruben, who are you? What do you do? What's your thing, man?
Dude, okay. First of all, thank you for having me on your podcast. I can't believe this is number one. I know you've done multiple podcasts or experience and help other people, but this is your personal thing, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
But in a nutshell, there's two sides of me, right? Side one is I love websites and apps. Mm-hmm. I love building them. That's like my 9 to 5, quote unquote, but it's not really a job. I just love doing it. Mm-hmm. And then on the side, the reason why I'm here is because of Goodnews Cup.
Right.
It's a coffee truck that I'm building here in Dallas, Texas. And it's been a 4-year crazy journey from...
It's been 4 years already?
Yeah, it's been 4 years in January, man, from just a random dream to today. So crazy tons of stories we're going to dive into and experiences and tons of different like highs and lows, you know, like when you're starting something and you have to become passionate and kind of just dive deep into a topic, especially coffee. I had no idea what I was doing, man. Mm. And I'll get into my story once we start going in, but there's two sides of me. One, I love websites and apps, and two, coffee. So that's kind of like who I am in a nutshell. Everything else springs out of that, like who my personality, my funness is all based on those two things.
Yeah, because I remember when you were starting Goodnews Cup, which that's the name of the brand. You know what it is. If you live in Dallas, you know what it is. You've seen it on Instagram. But I do kind of want to talk about that. Like, how did you even think about, because a coffee truck it's wild. That's a wild idea, but it's so like, before you had come up with that, everyone's heard of like, taco trucks or like food trucks, but a coffee truck, let alone just a drink truck is crazy. But how did that even pop into your head?
So I just started from the beginning. I'll give you the conception of the dream or the conception of the idea of Goodnews Cup. So I started seriously from a random dream. Before 4 years ago, if you ask any of my friends, I was not into coffee. I did not know the difference between Folgers and Starbucks and George's and all these other cool coffee shops around. I had no idea what was different. I had no idea what made a coffee shop special. I was really into what I call fluff drinks. For example, Starbucks had a unicorn drink. Like, the pink drink. Yeah, the pink drink or something like random. I like those fluff. Like, oh, that's super cool. Like a donut on a coffee.
Yeah.
It's a cool drink. I'll drink it, call it a day. But I was never like a coffee addict or aficionado, didn't understand the lingo, had no idea. Well, one night, I'm having a dream, and in my dream, I'm a barista. It's like a group of 4 or 5 people working with me.
Like a legit dream.
Like a legit, I'm asleep. Okay. But in my dream, it was so vivid. I mean, I'm doing espressos, I'm pulling shots, it's busy, it's lines out the door. And then I tell the guys, hey, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna go outside because it's too much. So I walk outside. And then I look up, and then in my dream, it says Ruben's Coffee Shop. And then I go, boom, I wake up.
Dang.
So then immediately I wake up and I'm like, whoa, this is weird. Like I've never thought about being a barista. I've never worked at a coffee shop. Never. Right. I mean, before this, I don't remember ever walking into a coffee shop, right? I mean, besides like a Starbucks or drive-through. I had no idea. So I'm like, should I start a coffee business or is it just like my random dream? So from that day to a week later, I bought the green truck.
Wow.
So
In a week.
In 1 week.
In a week, you made the how much? If you don't mind, like a range, like how much was that truck?
Oh, the truck was 6,000. I don't remember the exact dates. I wish I would have wrote them down. But let's imagine. I do know it was over a weekend span because I remember. I would have liked to say it was on a Thursday or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I had this dream, and I remember I spent a couple of days looking for this truck, like or looking up. I thought to myself, I don't want a brick and mortar.
Right.
Like obviously, like I have a day job, and I love websites. That's like my passion. But I want to pursue this dream I had, right? Because that's how my mind works. Once it's in my head, like I have to go for it. Mm-hmm. So it's in my head. I don't want a brick and mortar. Let me do a truck. So I started researching the food trucks, but all the ones I found were very modern, very like a legit food truck, like with stoves, grills, and all this. I just want to serve coffee.
Right.
I don't want to cook, food or do all that crazy stuff. So I just remember on a Sunday, I was like, I hate everything I'm finding. So like maybe I'll put the dream on pause or put the dream on hold, but just kind of dream for it as I just Google it whenever, right?
Yeah.
Where I think about it. Well, that Sunday, I remember I went to eBay and I typed vintage box truck. Like, I know I want a box truck, like a UPS style truck, but I wanted it from the 70s, 60s. I wanted I didn't want a Volkswagen Beetle because I saw all those on Instagram, or Volkswagen van, but I want a vintage box truck. So I literally typed in vintage box truck, and that's the first truck that appeared. It was green.
Dude.
And it was the green truck, like, oh my God, this is perfect. And it was within my price point, like within my budget I had in my savings. Like, okay, I had like $7,000 in savings. I'm like, okay, it's around 5.5, 6. Like maybe I can negotiate when I'm there in person. But then I started finding out it's in Pennsylvania. So I messaged this guy on Monday, and I go, hey, I'm really interested in this truck. Does it run? Like, I don't know anything.
Right.
So he doesn't respond Tuesday. He doesn't respond Wednesday. But the truck's listing's still on there. So like I thought to myself, well, what if I buy it? And then like if I don't like it, I just ask eBay to give me a refund. I've never bought a vehicle through eBay, so I have no idea what to do.
I didn't know they sold the trucks and stuff on eBay.
They sold vehicles. So on Thursday, he finally emailed me back. It sends me a message through eBay, and it goes, hey, yeah, the truck is still for sale. I go, cool. I go, do not sell it. I'm in Texas. I will fly out there on Saturday morning, and please do not sell this truck. I go, what did I say? I go, do not sell this truck. I'll be out there Saturday morning. I'm flying in from Texas. He goes, okay, cool. So I fly out there, man. It's like I buy a one-way ticket from
and the guy must have been like, okay, he's gonna fly out from Texas for a I'm sure he was like sketched out.
Yeah, he was. I mean, so I'm in the plane. My sister's like, hey, if I don't call you within 24 hours, this guy killed me. Like, because I had no idea, bro. I mean, I'm buying a truck on eBay. I'm flying to Pennsylvania. So I go from a jumbo jet. So this is like some small town in Pennsylvania. So I go from a jumbo jet with 4 rows, and it was 3 rows, 2 rows. I get on another plane, which is just like a mini plane, like it's just 3 rows. I get off of that plane. I'm in Pennsylvania, and I get on a single jet, like just 2 lanes, like 2 rows. So it's like a smaller plane to get to the small town in Pennsylvania. Dang. So I fly that there. The airport's literally, this building is bigger than the airport that was at. So I walk out there. This is literally a guy handing you the luggage by the plane. Like this is like small. Like so I get
third
there.
Third world country.
Yeah.
He's landed in
I'm all like, what the frick's going on? So I get there. There's a small building. I call this guy. The guy shows up like in a 2020 or 2017, like a brand new Escalade. I'm like, oh, this guy must have money. Dang. Yeah. So I get to know him. So we're talking. So from his house, from the airport to his house, like 45 minutes. So we're talking, and he's getting to know me. I'm telling him what I want to do with the truck, and I'm just kind of explaining, hey, man, I had this random dream a week ago. I think I want to convert it to a food truck. I don't know what I'm doing, and I go whole 9 yards. So then I finally, then we have lunch. I get there, blah, blah, blah. We eat, we talk. I finally see the truck, and when I see the truck, I literally, like, God knows on the truth, I touch the truck, and I feel just electricity. Like, this is my truck. Like, I just feel like a shock. You know when you're something, like, you just feel like this is it. So, so we get to the price. I go, hey, man, I just want to make sure it runs. So we turn it on. We drive around the block. Everything works. Brake work, lights work, everything. Like, oh, my God, it works.
Yeah.
And so we set on the price. I give him the money. And then he goes, well, how are you going to get it to Texas? And I go, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't thought that far.
Dude.
I literally just bought a one-way ticket, and I don't know what I'm doing. So it's already 6:00 on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And he's all like, so what do you do? So what are we going to do? I go, So we started calling companies for like transport companies. Everyone wanted $3,000 to $4,000. And like, bro, I don't have the $4,000 just to ship it. And I just thought, well, let me just drive it back.
Right.
And the guy goes, bro, this truck's from the 70s. It's a city truck. It's meant to go in the city. It's not meant to go across the country from Pennsylvania to Texas. So he goes, because I like you. The cool thing is, because I like you and your personality, I'll give you 1,000-mile warranty.
Dang.
So he set the trip meter on the truck. He goes, if you get to 999 miles and this truck breaks, I'll go pick you up. I'll take you to the nearest airport and I'll give you back your money.
Dang. This guy sounds cool.
Yeah,
he sat there. He helped you try to find other companies to do it for you and all that.
Yeah, so he was super legit. So he does that. He goes, so I go, cool, man. 1,000. It goes, once he goes, but if it gets to 101, 1,001, it's all you.
Yeah.
I go, perfect. That's all I need to know, just kind of peace.
I don't even think my CarMax car gave me that good of an offer. That's crazy.
So, dude, I get in the. First of all, I haven't driven standard like in 20 years.
Oh,
it's a standard
70s, so it's
a 70.
Wow.
The truck hasn't been maintenance. Like God knows what. I had no idea how to change oils at this point. So I get the truck. I hop in there, and remember, it's in the middle of winter. It's in January. It's like negative 10 degrees in Pennsylvania, and I'm just driving this box truck with no AC. And the heater barely worked, and I'm just driving. It takes me 3.5 days to get from Pennsylvania to Texas. Remember, I have no money. Like, I maxed out like 4 years ago all my savings to get this truck. I have enough money to get back in gas, and I'm literally sleeping in the truck. Like, it's like freezing. I just have a blanket, and I'm just like shaking in the back. Like, what the hell am I doing? Or what am I doing here?
Right.
So that's the funniest thing. So it took me almost 3.5 days to get to Texas. Because after 50 miles an hour, 55, the truck was shake, bro. Like, it was like, so I had to go 50, 40 miles an hour. So the whole way.
The whole highway interstate was like 70, right?
Yeah, but I'm going 40, just 40, 45, 50.
I'll put a video up there. It's just going to be like a little.
This is you. But the cool thing is this whole trip, like, my phone died, so I ran out of battery. So I have no charger. Like, I'm just like, the truck doesn't have like things you can plug into. Like, it's from the 70s, bro. Like, dude, so
like a movie. This is like a field trip.
Yeah, exactly. So I get back. I finally arrived to Texas, and I'm like literally 2 miles from my house, and the truck overheats. So, but at least I'm 2 miles from my house.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I'm getting off the highway. Like, it made it. Like, it made it here. So I get to the house, and it takes me 3.5 days, and I wake up, then I get home, and then at the time I was working for who was I working for? A marketing company. So I literally drive in, and then I get in my car and drive to work because I pull in like at 5 or 6 in the morning. So I had to be at work by 8. So I drive in, get my stuff, get in my car, and then just drive to work.
Bro, that's a wild story. I think the coolest thing about that whole thing was the fact that you had the dream, and literally the next day you started acting on it. Yeah, and I think that's a step that, like, with this podcast, anybody who has any sort of dream never gets to that point, which is like, man, this would be cool. Or like, even if it's an actual dream, like, oh, they forget the dream halfway through the day. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's crazy, especially since it wasn't like you planned it. Yeah. You literally had an actual dream. We're dreaming. You actually slept, woke up, and you're like, man, this is so cool. What gave you the confidence to even just do that in the first place? Because, like I said, that's not normal. That's not commonplace for somebody to just think of an idea and just instantly. I think,
my personality trait leans towards just doing crazy things. Like doing things that are fun for me in the moment. Like, throughout my whole life, I've done different experiences, like t-shirt making, things like that I've done that I feel like, man, I got really good at it. It's off to the next adventure. Like, or for example, I worked at a Guitar Center, and I was #1 salesman in the store. Okay, I'm done. Next adventure. Like, once I feel like I reached the mountaintop in that field, like, it's off to the next adventure. And I always felt like coffee in that week, and then now since I started, coffee is like a never-ending experience. Like, it's always evolving, always changing, always growing. The fundamentals are the same, but the experience of coffee it can always improve, right? I mean, like, Starbucks is an innovator, like always pushing coffee to the limit, and all these companies out here, every mobile shop, every brick and mortar building is making coffee their own experience. So it's never ending. Right. But I just think the confidence is just like believing in myself, man. Like, once it's in my head, like, I have to do it. Like, there's no other opportunity. There's nothing in life more important than me finishing this task. Wow. Even if it's just buying the truck and not doing anything, I would have been happy. Like, it's just like me acting on something. Like, I have to act on it. Like, I lose sleep if I don't act on it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I lose, like, I get stress and anxiety. My mind gets consumed. Like, just finish this project out and then go to the next one. So right now, like I'm in the midst of, building the coffee business.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
4 years in.
I don't know the ending, but I guess just believing in myself. And like I said, you said something important. I think what people hesitate, everyone has dreams like of entrepreneurship or doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes you to have a little bit of faith in yourself just to get to the next step.
Yeah.
Because it's a baby step process. People see me on Instagram like, oh, he made it. No, bro, like you don't know when I was crying by myself when I like thinking the week after, what the heck did I just buy?
I mean, even in the beginning when you said 4 years,
Yeah.
I mean, I was one of those people that was on Instagram. I was like, okay, Ruben got a truck. Like, this is dope. It felt like yesterday. It didn't feel like 4 years, but you think about it and you're like, no, it's been 4 years to get to where you are right now.
Exactly,
like,
yeah. So like people don't understand like all the baby steps in between. They just see what I call like the Instagram glory. They just see the shine, but they don't see none of the pain. Like I don't post the times that I'm in bed thinking like I just bought this stupid coffee machine and it blew up on me.
Right.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I don't post that stuff.
Yeah.
So but no one sees it or no one comprehends, right? No one understands like, hey, within the dream, there's always going to be pain of learning. Okay, hey, like if I have boxes of coffee equipment that I thought was good, but like, oh crap, it's not getting good. I need to buy this other machine or buy this and that. Like have a box in my garage full of coffee equipment that I'm not even going to use. Just because like you go as you're learning, like, oh man, like there's no resources online to teach you to help you. I'm just troubleshooting by myself. But I think the main thing is just believe in yourself, man. Like even like the cool thing, even if I fail, even like right there today, I quit Goodnews Cup. I'm happy with life. Yeah. And like, you know what I mean? Like even if like, I think people are just scared. Like if I right now say I'm closing Goodnews Coffee, I can lay my head down in my bed and be happy for what I accomplished. Like in your eyes, it may be a failure. Like, oh, Ruben gave up. Ruben's quit. But in my mind, I'm a winner. Like, dude, I followed on a dream. Even though I failed, I mean, because I have countless different entrepreneurship businesses that I didn't finish, or I couldn't sustain it, or I couldn't do it. But I'm happy. Like I acted on what I felt was right in the moment, and I did it.
Right.
And I think that's what people like. People, I think, it isn't confidence. It's I don't care what Tag thinks about me. Like I don't care what X person thinks about me. I don't care what my best friend thinks about me. Like everyone around me when I bought this truck said I was crazy. I mean, my best friend's like, bro, I've never seen you drink a cup of coffee. Why are you gonna spend, $6,000, $7,000 on this truck?
Yeah.
I go, I don't know, bro. So everyone around me, my first year was like, bro, you're crazy. But I just knew I had to build a business and I just had to do it. And I didn't care what no one around me said about me. So now everyone's like, hey, let's partner up. Let's do this. Like, but in the beginning, like the same people that literally said you're crazy are the same people now like, hey, feature me. Hey, add me. Hey, do this. And it's just so funny, bro. I'm just like, bro, like I literally have messages of specific people saying, bro, you're crazy. You shouldn't do this. Why are you wasting your money? And then years later, within the same thread, they're like, hey, let's team up. Let's collab. Let's do this. Bro, I'm like, really, bro? Like
that's a whole nother episode. If we go into that, bro, that's a whole nother thing.
But I think the key thing you said is confidence in yourself. I think it's true, but let's just put a twist on it. It's say not really caring what people think about you. Because I want anyone listening to this, start your business, but fail. You know what I mean? Start another business. If you fail, you fail. If you start another business, who cares what people think? And I think everyone's scared of what are these people going to think about me? What I always hear all the time, like, oh, my wife said I'm stupid for having this random dream. Or my friend says I'm stupid. And I always tell them, but who cares? It's your life.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, I want to lay my head down on the bed and say, man, I did what I could with the resources I had. And for example, a friend of mine, some new girl I met on Instagram 2 days ago, she goes, hey, I only have $1,200 to start a coffee business. I don't know where to start. Like, I know you're busy. Can you help me? Boom, I literally shot her a list of what to do. I like, you need to buy this machine, buy this and this and that. And she said, and then you'll have a full-blown coffee cart. Dude. And then you can, she goes, I don't have a trailer. I go, cool, I set you up so you can do it in your car. You can carry it. It's so small, this whole setup she's going to do. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Bro. So it's just like when someone like the resources or having the confidence, I told her, just have the confidence to do it. Who cares if everyone thinks you're crazy? Just do it. And everything will fall in place.
I like, I wanted to, that was a good segue into one of the premeditated questions I had, shout out to my planification. But I want to stick on one thing, which is you said you had a lot of fun doing it. And you always do something that causes or gives you joy.
Yeah.
Or it's just something fun. And I think something for me, because I'm like you in that sense a lot, where like I'll think of an idea and I'll do it, but I think in all of those ideas have failed, and all of those plans have like just not existed anymore, and I'll just look back and I'll like look at it with like, it's so funny you say that, because even I tried doing another podcast before this, and people who know me know it, but it's like, it was called the Uninspired Podcast, and it was supposed to be this whole thing, and I really liked it. I was having fun. I was doing it. And then one day my idea changed, and I was like, no, I am inspired by a lot of things, and I love this thing. And I just ended it because it just wasn't fun anymore. And hearing you say that about Guitar Center and all this stuff, it just reminds me, and for whoever's watching, that that's the key, right? It's the joy, it's the happiness, it's the fun, and that's what drives you. It's not, the following on Instagram or even which, this is very satisfying, but even seeing that text for the person who said you're crazy to, oh bro, let's collab, because that's fun and that's a perk, but like, that's not why you do it. You do it because it's fun. And I think that's a reminder that I need, because like for me, even in the seasons that I'm going into, it's like, there's a lot of your crazies and there's a lot of things, and then I see this, like you saw literally in the dream, you walk out and you look, Ruben's coffee or whatever, and then you did it, but that's what you're seeing. And I think too many people get caught up in the like, not what they're seeing in their head, but what they're seeing in real life, and that's just
there's, for example, there's I consider there's two sides of it. There's the imagination side, right? Like the what can I dream of Goodnews Cup could be, right? The imagination, what we use, and then there's some realities. The realities are like, how much money do I have in the bank account? How much money can I dedicate to it a week? How much money X, Y, and Z? There's some realities there's some limitations that Ruben has. Right. Like, I can't devote my entire paycheck, or my entire resources to this dream. Right. So I budget. So I'm like, there's some practicalities to building a dream, but there's also the side of imagination. So, for example, like a manifestation, like manifesting your dream. So, because I was able to project my dream effectively through social media, I can show you countless people have literally donated money to me, man, Ruben, because of your faith and your ability to manifest this dream on social media. I want to give you $600. I want to give you $500. So if I were living in the realm of my resources, Goodnews Cup wouldn't be where it's at right now, because my resources are limited. Wow. But when you start imagining, like, man, what if someone listens to the podcast and calls me and gives me $10,000? So that's where my mindset is. Like, I've seen like moments in my life in these past 4 years that one, I really believe like I'm God's favorite, right? Like, because there's moments like, dude, like I'm in an office building and with one of my clients that I built a website for, and I'm finishing up the project. We're doing the details. And he's asking me, what are you doing with life? I go, man, I just had 2 months ago, this crazy experience. I bought this coffee truck, had this random dream. I go, now I'm saving $6,000 because I want to buy the espresso machine. I want to start practicing. I'm watching hundreds of videos on YouTube. And so we're there. And he goes, how much is the machine? I go, I found a really cool rocket machine at $6,000. I want that one. I go, no one in Dallas has a rocket. I go, I want to be the first person to bring a rocket to Texas. I'm this whole like, because they're from Europe. So blah, 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 blah. So I'm sharing with this business owner my plan and my vision and this and that. So he pays me the last $1,200 for the finishing his web project. So we're there finishing it. So I close my laptop, get my stuff. I go, hey man, thanks for letting me finish your project. If you need any updates, just let me know, blah, blah, blah. So I'm walking out and he goes, hey Ruben, don't leave. I go, what's up, bro? Like, your project's done. Like, I'm good. He goes, no, you forgot something. I go, I'm looking around literally on the desk. Like, okay, what did I forget? I got my backpack, my laptop, my charger. And he hands me a check. So I go, no, bro. Like, hey, you already paid me. You paid me last week on the air. He goes, no, this is for something else. So I go, okay. He goes, this is for your coffee business. Dude. I go, okay, cool. So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, $100, $200, like, you know what I mean? Like a friend thing, because he's a friend of mine. Of course. So I get in my car. So I didn't literally pay no attention to the check. I just stick it in my bag. I say, thank you, sir. Have a great day. I appreciate it. So I get in my car and I'm driving home. And I still haven't looked at the check. Right. So I'm all like, this is weird. Like, why would he hand me a check? Like, how much is this check? I'm thinking, like, what? So I pull out the check. And it literally is $6,000 check that says espresso machine. And I call him. I go, bro, you're out of your mind. I can't cash this. He goes, yes, you're going to cash this. He goes, and it's for your espresso machine. So I'm literally, this is like a couple months after after this dream. So I literally pulled over and I'm in tears,
Dude.
because I'm literally shaking. Like I'm thinking about it, I'm shaking now, but I'm shaking because I have this check for $600 to buy the espresso machine.
Yeah.
And it was just because I was able to share my dream. And I think that's what people miss. People miss the opportunity to people base their dream on their resources. I don't do that. I base my dream on my faith level. Like,
Wow.
I'm able to see Goodnews Cup the way it was, or the way it is now, before I was nothing, before I had an Instagram, before I had a website, before I had, any followers or whatever.
Bro.
So I was able to see it mentally, and these people around me can see it with me because I'm able to articulate it.
Because you're passionate.
Yeah.
You show it.
And I think that's a step people miss. Like, forget your bank account. Like, forget how much money you have to devote to your dream. Start believing in yourself and start manifesting, and then start letting people know, like, man, I have this crazy idea. I don't know how it's going to look like, but it's going to happen. And then you start finding these blocks start falling into its place.
That's powerful, man. That whole thought of, manifesting it. I mean, when people say that and throw that around a lot nowadays, and it's like, I feel like a lot of people hear it without understanding the concept behind it, which all it is really is just speaking it and just declaring something to be a thing. And it's really just taking it out of your head and putting it into the world, however it is. For me, something I do is every time I have a dream, and I've been doing it recently in notepads. I did it before in a whiteboard, but it was literally, I have a whiteboard in my living room. You could ask my wife. She was like, what the freak? Why are we putting this in the living room? But it literally says, okay, Trinity Tech's content creation. I'll be on a first name basis with the CEO of Nike. Yeah. And like stupid things that are so like if someone sees that, it's laughable. It's like, or and other things, other dreams that I have. And it's like, the dreaming part and the action part, that's the part in between. Yeah. The manifesting it and actually thinking more about it. Because a lot of people think about it. A lot of people will say, oh, I want to start a clothing line. I feel like that's the most cliche thing that everybody does and they want to do. But then that's it. It's like, oh, I just want to do this. And that's how they share and stuff like that. But dude, you said some crazy stuff there. But another thing you had mentioned was your friend that wanted to do a coffee business and stuff. Yeah. One of my premeditated questions, shout out to me, planning, was if somebody came up to you, what would you tell them about the coffee industry and building it? Like, there's like a couple questions in here around the same thing, but let's start with this one. It's like, what are the struggles, or what did you see that was like to become an established, coffee brand or business or shop or whatever?
So there's in the coffee, I guess what coffee is now in 2021, there's coffee carts, there's coffee I'm gonna categorize carts with the bicycles and those kind of push cart,
like the mobile stuff,
like a mobile setup. So there's a mobile setup. There's food trucks, and there's brick and mortar, right? Mm-hmm. Those are kind of three. For example, Ola Cafe, shout them out, but they're have very European concept of a micro coffee shop. Micro coffee shops are very big. When I lived in India, in Indonesia, micro coffee shops, they're everywhere because relatively the space, right? It's not because they're micro coffee shops because that's what design is. It's because in Indonesia, it's like you only have like a 5x5 space, and you have to build whatever you want. Restaurants, cafes, whatever you want, shoe stores, all 5x5 spaces.
That's crazy.
So they're all considered micro coffee shops around the world. But in Texas, with the spaces available, micro coffee shops are not really known. So there's like different things you can do. So I would tell people, if like that girl, I asked her, what is your vision for your business? Do you want a brick and mortar? Do you want because there's like a big coffee shop like George's. Right. There's micro coffee shops like Ola. And there's about 20 vendors in DFW that do mobile setups. It's either within a motorcycle or within a coffee cart, or different kind of mobile setups or trailers.
I always thought those were like branches of like a brick and mortar. Is that not? Is that all they are?
No. For example, my friend's Night Owl. He quit his day job to just do coffee carts. Oh. And he does a lot of private events, weddings, parties. Like he's all over the place. That's here in DFW. So that's what he focuses on. Right. I think he has. It's kind of like, imagine like this building in downtown, it's like a worship space that when you walk in, hit the coffee bar is his business.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So
that's
this place has a coffee shop when you walk in, but he has the same setup at the building, and it's his personal. It's Night Owl Coffee.
Dang, that's cool.
So so there's different things. what I'm grateful for is Starbucks, because Starbucks made it possible for me to charge $6-7 for a drink. You know, like,
Yeah,
shout out
that's crazy.
Starbucks, because now when people buy $7, they don't think about it because Starbucks made it possible.
Were they really? Is Starbucks the innovation? Were they the ones who made that way?
No, not to geek you out, but we'll talk about
geek me out, dude.
yeah. So whenever you're starting, coffee, okay, let me start over.
Right.
In the coffee world, there's something called waves.
Okay.
So wave 1 is Turkish coffee. There's a couple different origin stories. Some of them say the Turkish people, some say the Indonesians, some say different, like an African culture discovered Turkish coffee.
Okay.
So Turkish coffee, it's this ground coffee to the max, like super ground, like almost like powder, and then you just steep it in water and you drink it. It's like it doesn't necessarily dissolve into the water. So for example, you mix it, you drink it, and then there's all the coffee grounds on the bottom of the cup.
Oh, gotcha.
That place does it. Pax does it. Pax is one of the
yeah.
few places that does Turkish coffee really good.
Wow.
And it's that concept, like you have your coffee grinds at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you're technically drinking coffee grinds.
Yeah.
Well, that's wave 1.
Gotcha.
I did discoveration of coffee.
And the waves are different methods of brewing it.
No, waves is like generations of coffee.
Oh, okay,
so for
gotcha.
example, wave 1 is Turkish coffee.
Okay.
People started noticing their animals are acting crazy for a couple hours. And like, why is that kangaroo jumping up and down really much? You know, getting super hyper from eating these little cherries.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So there's a discoveration. You know, that's wave 1. People discovered coffee.
Okay.
Wave 2 in the coffee world is Starbucks. They're the ones that made it worldwide popular for the $7 drink. Wave 3 is like George's, Ola, those micro coffee shops that don't really want, that are kind of farmer to coffee shop kind of origin stories, more especially like, hey, I know where these beans come from. I know, X, Y, and Z of the coffee world. And then what you're going to start hearing now in the next few weeks, next few years, it's the fourth wave. The fourth wave's coming.
I keep hearing this like in meme culture and in Twitter. It's like the fourth wave of coffee.
Yeah.
What is that?
So the fourth wave of coffee, it's studying coffee at a molecular level. Oh, wow. So in the whole world, there's like 57 different styles of coffee beans, like the cherries, because it's a fruit.
Yeah.
But we only drink 7 of them. There's a pea berry. There's the abraca. There's different style of beans, but we only drink 7 of those beans. Wow. And those 7 beans have been transplanted all across the world, like in Indonesia, Ethiopia, Colombia. So the same bean all around the world, but because where it's grown, it tastes different. So because of the soil, the sun, the rain, so all that contributes to the way the bean tastes. So now it's studying coffee at a molecular level of finding out. So what makes me different from almost the majority of coffee shops in DFW is everyone uses purified water, which is cool. But in order for you to pull the best flavor out of coffee beans, you need calcium and magnesium. That's what our mouth actually tastes. When you drink coffee, we taste the calcium and magnesium. Okay. But what happens is with a lot of city water, they put something in the water called bicarbonates. So bicarbonates kills all the stuff in the pipes, makes water drinkable from the facility to your house. But also, so you have calcium and magnesium with their acids, and then you have a base, which is bicarbonates. So the easiest example is in natural water, like a Fiji water. If you look in the bag, it say bicarbonates, like 700 milligrams, calcium 20 milligrams, magnesium 30 milligrams. Wow. So you have 60 minerals, but yet you have 700 bicarbonates, which is a base, which destroys the acid. Oh, okay. So what happens is in more city water, when it rains or when I don't know if you ever noticed, but coffee tastes chalky or tastes really flat. Well, that's because your water has too much bicarbonates. What makes me different is that I make my own water for every event. Oh, wow. So I buy distilled water and I add my own calcium and magnesium based on those beans that I was able to decode and find out, okay, how much magnesium does it need to pull the best flavor out of this coffee beans in this batch? So that's what makes, so whenever you get a Goodnews Cup, it's always going to be the bean will always win. Like, because I'm putting the best flavor out of the coffee bean. And majority of shops don't do that. Wow. There's only 3 coffee shops in America and 2 of them in New York.
And so the fourth wave is like the study of that?
The study of taking coffee to the next molecular level. Like understanding coffee at its core and then getting the best flavor out of the coffee beans.
With that
with water. Stuff, like because with water, water is 98% of coffee. Right. So your water has to be good in order for your coffee to, excel or to taste good. So I want people to discover why is coffee so good. Like if you want a fluff drink, if you want a sugary drink, dude, there's so many coffee shops around the world that can do that for you.
Right.
But that's not Goodnews Cup. Goodnews Cup is like I want coffee aficionados be like, man, this is a good cup of coffee.
Wow, yeah.
Because the water shines and then the coffee beans shine, you know?
Dude, that's crazy. And I think it's really wait, if you were to recommend, because something I did or I learned, which I don't know anymore because you're saying stuff that's like completely different now, is people told me, it's like when you're brewing because I started getting into coffee culture probably like maybe 6 months or 3 months before COVID hit. So that's when I really started drinking a lot of coffee, and I was like, man, I really want to start making it at home. And, you know, I got a French press, you know, I got a pour over, I got all the, you know, the super coffee culture things to get. And then, you know, the first thing I saw was like, use your water from like your fridge instead of like tap water, or like is the filtered water better?
Yes, because yes and no. So the problem with filtered water, with any like beer, I think it's Brita, yeah. The problem with them, they get rid of the bicarbonates, but they also filter out the calcium and magnesium.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it really doesn't matter. Never brew coffee. I'll tell people never brew coffee after it rains.
Oh wow!
Because the minerals in the soil get in the water, and the water goes to the facility, and it has more minerals in the water, so it doesn't taste chalky or dirtier. Crazy. So like all the facility's job is to get rid of the germs, not necessarily get rid of the minerals.
Yeah. So
they make sure the water is drinkable for society, and then they pump it to you. Gotcha. So it could be overpopulated with too many minerals. Gotcha. And it could be, you know, we have like for example, you can't take, you know, 30,000 vitamin A pills, you get sick. Same thing with coffee. Like if you have too many minerals in your coffee, it could be chalky, too acidy, too basey, too flat, you know?
That's wild, yeah. So to close this part, is what if you know, I'm buying water for my coffee. So I use Nespresso. Nespresso is the brand that I have it in my house. It's super easy. Yeah. And it's pretty good, you know, compared to like Keurig and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good. I have one. I'm ashamed to say I have one.
So with that, I use right now, you know, purified water, whatever. Yeah. Is distilled water like what's the water people should get for it?
I always tell people to get the best experience out of a coffee, you need two things. You can use distilled water. The problem with distilled water, there's no minerals.
Right.
So you're not
it's just flat.
It's just flat. Like you're not. There's literally just H2O, just water. Dang. So if you had to use distill or tap water, I would pick tap water. But you had to drink it really fast because after a while it tastes really bad.
Got you.
But there's a product out there. Shout out to my friends that were on Shark Tank. They have, I think, let me pull up their Instagram. But I think it's called Third Wave Water.
Third Wave Water.
Yeah. So what they do is that they sell little packets of his name is Nick. Okay. Created this little system. None of the sharks bought into the business, but it's called the Shark Tank effect. You know what I mean?
Right. They probably blew up after that.
Yeah, they blew up after that. So let me see. Third Wave Water is their Instagram, and Third Wave Water. What it is just a powder that you pour into your gallon. So you buy a gallon of distilled water, you put this powder in it, and then you have the perfect brewing water.
Oh, dude.
For your coffee.
That. Yeah. So you'd recommend that. That's the move.
That's what I do. So Nick is the guy who taught me how to make my own water. Wow. So through the experiences and through his product, I started understanding, okay, what makes coffee. Because then what I want you to do is do a pour over buy a packet online for like $20. Like you get like 20 of them. And then do a tap water, and you're gonna see a substantial difference on the coffee. Like the taste, you're like, bro, this is weird. Like how it tastes totally different. Yeah. Because his concept is creating the best perfect water for coffee.
That's wild. That's awesome.
Yeah. So distilled, you put the powder in there, you shake it up, and you're good to go.
Dang. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do that. But one thing, I think, you know, hold on, I'm trying to think of what to say next. Dang it.
Dang
so
it, man.
good. Dang.
You got to edit this.
Dang. I'm not going to edit it. It's going to be staying. And I'm going to come back to this episode. It's going to be.
It's bloopers.
Yeah, no, but actually, let's go back to that first question. So financially and like practically, if I want to start a coffee shop tomorrow, even if it's a micro or whatever, what are like give me like the entry level purchases I need to start?
Oh, well, okay. So if you're telling me, like, for example, if Tax called me and said, "Hey, Ruben, I'm gonna quit the podcast world and video world. I'm gonna do coffee." Yeah. My questions I would ask, okay, what are your goals? Like, do you want to do private events? Do you want to do private events? Do you want to do parties? Do you want to do, you know, what do you want to do is my first question. Okay. But then the next question is, okay, there's different things you could do. You can just be a pour over bar. You can do what I call slow bars, that you're actually making the drinks pour over by hand for people there.
Wow.
And then there's the espressos, like you want to do shots, do lattes, things like that.
Yeah.
So there's different animals. You can. I also people start with espresso bars,
Okay.
or start with a slow bar, and then slowly start saving up to buy the espresso bar.
Because the slow bar is the more cost. Like,
it's more because
inexpensive.
technically, because you'll just buy like 2 or 3 good coffee makers, and then you're slowly doing pour overs with the Chemex
Right.
for people there. Like,
Yeah,
because the Chemex stuff is more for the show,
Right.
for the showmanship.
Yeah.
But you give people a good coffee.
Right.
But it is a slow bar, so people are not like people just get in there from their giraffes or getting coffee like that.
That's cool.
But there's different dudes. I mean, you can do anything. You can be one guy. For example, there's a guy on Instagram who's literally does 1 cup at a time from his bicycle.
Dang.
So he has like a little stand on the back, and he just literally makes you 1 cup of coffee. He'll grind the beans for you. He'll pour the drink. So he'll make a pour over for you, one at a time.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to do that, let's start with that. Like,
Yeah.
don't have your finances limit, because you need to, whatever you, if you just have a coffee machine at home, start with that. Like, it's just the whole idea is starting, and everything will fall in its place.
That's awesome.
But I think like
So there is like an entry level.
because for example, there's 2 girls that I follow on Instagram, and all they do is slow bar. They don't do espresso machines. All they do is just like just in a sense like a single origin coffee, a blend, or so whatever their specialty coffee is, and a couple flavors, and that's it. And they set that up at a wedding, and then they leave. They come back and they pack it down.
And then with that, all it is, you have whatever method you use. So if it's French press or pour over or whatever, you buy one of those, which is super cheap.
Yeah.
Then you get, of course, the beans and whatever, the grinder.
Yep.
And then I guess cups and stuff, right? But that's the minimal.
That's the
let's
minimum.
say I'm going espresso.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the go-to? And I want to define it. If it's I'm doing a brick and mortar or a micro coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's like more attainable for anybody who wants to start.
Yeah.
Than like an actual huge shop. So a micro coffee shop. What are the first things that somebody would need to start that?
So, obviously you need the espresso machine, and with the espresso machine, dude, that's a crazy world of people fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Like, this machine's better, this Slayer's better, this
like
other
iPhone, Android.
Yeah, it's like exactly. So, I really love Rocket espressos. Rocket machines, they're my favorite.
They're beautiful.
I just love the way they look. They're so clean. That's just personal preference. But at the end of the day, they're all pulling shots.
Right.
Like, it's just hot water through a compressed, and that's it. Like, at the end of the day, it's almost the same.
Yeah.
If you pull every machine apart, it's the same mechanics.
Right.
Like, it's like you're not reinventing. Like, a car's a car, like, right? But sometimes they may look different. It may be Mercedes and BMW, but at the core, it's still an engine. It's still pistons. And
that's when that whole molecular thing starts, because that's where you really get the flavor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The actual coffee bean you're using and whatnot.
No, what's the water you use, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's where the flavor comes in. But at the end of the day, it's just compressed water at 10 bars, putting the pressure of the water, pushing through the grinds, and then spitting out coffee. Yeah. So like I said, you need an espresso machine and then a good grinder, and those are the 2 key things you need. Like, you need a proficient grinder. Like, I always tell people, buy a better grinder than a coffee machine, because your grinds is what determines your texture of your coffee. And because, for example, if you had a cheap grinder, over time, it may have really fine coffee, and then it'll have really coarse coffee, really thicker coffee. So that'll be imbalance of flavor. Right. So what makes, like I said, you can buy a cheap coffee machine, but buy a really good grinder, and you'll notice a difference.
Wow. Okay. Cool. I think another question I had, because you had talked about a little bit about events, because that's what you do. You mainly do events, right?
Correct.
How much does, and I hate saying this word because it sounds so businessy, but networking, how does that play into your business specifically? Because I feel like, at least from what I see, from the outside, you're connecting with so many people, you're talking, you're meeting up with people, partnering up. Like, how much does that affect in the event, like coffee space? Because I imagine that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So the pros and cons about the green truck, right? Mm-hmm. So the pros, it's vintage. It's I think it's cool. I like it. A lot of people like it, but the problem I'm running into is that it doesn't fit everyone's aesthetic. Like, for their wedding, for example. Right. So, like, for example, I'll get a call like, I would love to have you, but do you have anything else besides the green truck?
Wow.
Because
That's an
like,
actual question?
yeah, because like, for example, like our theme is more modern, you know, versus I come in a vintage box truck.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like barely
Stick
getting
out.
there, like,
Yeah.
you know, oil spilling everywhere. So, you know, you gotta come in, you know.
Hey, bro, it made it to Texas,
Yeah,
okay?
I'm
It
gonna
made
do
it
it
to
with the
Texas,
cigarette, with the doors open, driving down with no shirt on because it's hot. So like I said, that's kind of the what you face. Like, so
Yeah.
if it fits your business, if it fits like your event, people love it. But if it doesn't, people are like, man, I would love to have you. But the cool thing is that the community of coffee carts, I don't know about the brick and mortar buildings, but the 7-8 friends that have more experience, we share each other's numbers.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, hey, I have other friends, and let me show you. Has this really cool coffee cart. He charges, I mean, I don't know his rate, but whatever. Like, you could call him, or if you want this experience, I have no problem giving other people their numbers,
Right.
and vice versa. They send me people like, hey, this guy sent me, or you know, a night owl sent me your way, or Hive Coffee sent me to you.
Dang.
Because their
awesome.
aesthetic didn't fit my thing, but I want your vintage truck at my event.
Oh, so all y'all have different aesthetics?
Yeah, we all have different
I see.
aesthetics.
That's cool. Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, but there's so many, I mean, before COVID, right? But
right.
there's so many events that are in this world, like we don't have to fight. Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna fight for, you know, $1,000 event if I can help someone else.
Right.
Like other friends who quit their real jobs to do this coffee, then COVID hit. Like all during COVID, all the events that I was getting, I'll send them to other people. Like, I'm not greedy to be fighting for this money. Like, these guys quit their real jobs to do this coffee adventure, and then COVID hit. So that's what I'm thinking. So we all share it, and the more you give, the more that comes back.
Dang.
Because what I'm slowly realizing, the more I give my number to, hey, go to Tags because he has a better coffee experience than me, and I'll be honest, like, hey, look, I'm a full-time web developer. My friend Tags has a full-time coffee guy. Help him out. Like, I don't need your money, and the chances are they're gonna come back to me anyway. Hey, Ruben, we have another event.
Of course.
So the more you give, it's funny how the more you get. Like, or I recommended a friend, and then they invite someone else at this event. Oh. Or it's just a chain ripple effect, man. It's just so crazy how I extend my hand and more people come to me. I give you a lead and then 20 come back.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's real. And I feel like most of the successful people I know have that mindset.
Yeah.
And then the people who usually fail 1 or 2 years into it are the people who, you know, try to get the give someone the short end of the stick all the time. And, you know, how much has that mindset kind of impacted your life? Because you said that, you know, you usually get stuff back. Is it usually, but you don't do it for that reason, right?
No. I mean, so yeah, I give because I understand. I understand what, for example, my job, right? I understand what I do for a living. Coffee is a passion and a dream that I'm hustling for and building for, right? And I'm working hard to build that. But I get to a place where it's self-sustaining, it's self-going, it's self-growing. I want to help the people around me. Like, there's this meme, not this meme, but kind of this quote I'm saying, the quote I have. Even though, like, let's say I may not like you, I still want you to eat. I just don't want you to eat at my table. But I don't want no one to fail. Even if I don't like you, Tags, for example, let's say I don't like you or we have an issue, I still want you to eat. I'll still send people your way. I still want you to eat. But we're not going to share bread together. But I still want you to eat.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my mindset. Like, even though people have done me wrong or said things about me, and that always comes back, right? I always come back. Like, I still want to bless you. Like, I don't care. I don't care about you as a friend, Tags, for example, but I want to make sure you eat.
Wow.
So, but people like, I'd rather kill you with kindness than be evil back to you or be like a real douche.
It just doesn't make it.
It takes so much energy to be evil. It takes no energy to be happy.
To just be nice.
Like, hey,
to just send that number.
Send the number out for. Hey, I mean, I like this person, but he has a good coffee cart, man. God bless him. Hope you get diarrhea.
Dude, that's awesome. I think that a lot of people miss that part, and a lot of people, even me, I've been done wrong by a bunch of people. But thank you to people like you I've had you in my life, and other people who are, you know, role models in that sense, to have shown me like it doesn't really matter if somebody does you wrong or something like that, because you're gonna keep going, they're gonna keep going. And at the end of the day, if you just open up your heart and you open up your mind to just being nice to as many people as possible, you more than likely you're gonna get people who are really nice to you back. And it's that whole idea of, I don't believe in karma, but I do believe that, like, you kind of get what you give in a relational sense with people. Like, if I'm nice to you and you're nice to me by coming on here, you know what I mean? You're very nice to come and be like, you know what? This guy doesn't have an episode. He doesn't really have this whole platform yet, but I'm still going to go and I'm going to do the podcast, and I'm going to give him an hour of my time, 2 hours of my time. And then next week, I'm going to post your Goodnews Cup post on my story and things like that. And I think that's the networking part that I wanted to get to is, you know, is that really crucial, or is it just something that you kind of should do as a business owner or business person?
Well, yes and no. Going back to the manifestation is into the reality. The reality is, I can't answer every question.
Right.
Like, the cool thing is, our research. I always tell people, Google it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's tons of research. There's tons of YouTube channels. There's tons of people that I follow.
Yeah.
That can give you a better insight of the coffee world.
Right.
Like literally, there's channels that just review equipment.
Right.
Like, hey, what espresso machine is the best? You know, shout out to Seattle Coffee Gear.
Dang.
These guys put out videos of every espresso machine out on the market, from home base to commercial.
Right.
So, like I said, at the end of the day, I can tell you what I like, but there's literally channels devoted just to review products.
Yeah.
So there's tons of resources out there. So I don't answer every question. So, but I do believe being friendly on Instagram and being just a good person, and I think the networking side of it can become consuming, that's all you do, and you forget to enjoy life and live it. Like I'm not working to get my next gig. I'm working to have a better life.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But the next gig comes because of the better life.
Yeah. So the networking is just a passive thing that you do.
Exactly. Basically. So it's subconscious of who I am. I don't pursue like, oh my God, if I become friends with this one random guy, I'm gonna make it. Like, no, hey, I genuinely want to be your friend.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, I don't want to mention anybody's name, but I'm in California, and I'm hanging out with. I had no idea who I was hanging out with.
Yeah.
But everyone around me have YouTube channels with millions of people.
Dang.
And I'm there just hanging out with them. I have no idea who nobody is.
Right.
So we're walking down the street and people are shouting. I'm like, oh, hey, guys.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're shouting at me.
Yeah. Right.
But then I find out at the end of the night, everyone's here famous except me.
Dang.
So, but they accepted me into the group because I wasn't going in with a hidden agenda.
Yeah.
I wasn't going in there like, I want to be the friends to add them on Instagram. Like, I didn't add these people until that night I was leaving. Hey guys, I'm going back to Dallas. They're like, add us on Instagram. So I'm adding the first guy. Then I look down and he has a little blue check mark. I'm like, bro, like, you have 40 million people following you.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. I'm like, who are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or it was one friend of mine. There was one girl that was a part of the group. Turns out she's a model for, you know, I don't want to say the company, but she's a model.
Yeah.
And she has like 100 million followers on Instagram. But I'm literally laughing with her at the beach and just throwing sand at her.
Yeah.
I have no idea who this girl even is.
Right.
So I'm all like, I'm falling like, oh crap. Like, you're legit famous. Like, you're like on covers.
It ain't just a story.
It ain't just an Instagram post. Like, no, girl, like, you're on famous magazines.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh snap.
Dude.
So, and that's the thing, like, just be yourself. Like, don't go in there. I always tell people, don't go in there. Networking is a part of life. Like, you're always going to connect, right? When you find a certain genre of coffee, for example, you're going to connect with other coffee entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. But just don't go with the hidden agenda of like, I'm going to use this person. Like,
I think that's a problem I have with the word network.
Yeah.
It has a tone of like, when you're
like, what can you do for me?
It's a strategy.
Yeah.
You know, people have networking strategies. I've been to stupid like events where it's a networking event and it's like, no, don't network. Just meet new people.
Well, just
hang out. Yeah.
Just be. Let me give you an example. One of the guys that's one of my clients now, I met him at a networking event. It was just a random guy at the corner, and he was just like, well, what a stereotypical nerdy guy. Glasses, pocket protector, but nobody was talking to him.
Right.
He was just so socially weird. He just stood in the corner eating his sandwich. And I go, I'm going to talk to that guy. Those, you know, the popular kids, you know, the social media guys.
Yeah.
Right? So this is almost 6 years ago. So I saw this other guy, like, I want to go talk to him. I don't care about these cool kids. Like, they get on my nerves already because I just walked in.
Right.
So I go talk to him. But turns out this guy is a network engineer, like a genius. Like, this guy, like, he literally maintains our church servers.
Wow.
And manages all that. So, but he's teaching me everything he knows about servers and server. He may not be able to be the most social butterfly, but he's hecka smart. And it's because of that one moment. I was like, man, I saw this one guy just standing in the corner being weird. Like, I want to be his friend.
Damn.
Like, I want to make sure he has a good time at this event.
Right.
So I became his friend, and now 6 years later, we're working together on projects. He helps maintain our church stuff. He does all these other things.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for him, my knowledge of servers and infrastructures would be minimal.
Yeah.
But over the years, because of friendship with him, he's taught me so much, and now I'm able to build apps. I understand the whole, you know, Amazon servers, how to configure them because of him.
And I feel like if he was gonna try and be someone he's not and try to be the cool kid at the party, you probably wouldn't have.
Exactly.
You probably wouldn't have said what's up.
So I always tell people, networking it's a fundamental of what we do, right? We network. Like, I'm networked with you. I network with other coffee people. But at the end of the day, I want to be their friends. Like if you meet someone and all you want to do is use them for knowledge, like I want to get into mechanics, so I'm gonna call a mechanic and just be his friend because he's a mechanic.
Right.
And if you can genuinely say, if mechanics, if tools and this topics were not in there, would I be friends with this guy? And the answer is no, then you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Wow.
So I always tell people, like, if Ola Cafe, those two owners weren't into coffee, I still want to be their friends.
Dang.
Like if Ola fails tomorrow, I still want to be their friends. I still want to go to their house. I still want to eat with them. I still want to go to the park with them. I still want to do other things with them. So that's where my mindset is. It's, I want to network and I want to meet other people. I want to meet people that have better experience in the coffee. Like I want to meet, like, the owners of George, for example. And I want to be their friends because their energy and their hustle will vibe, will kind of excite me to do my business. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if George was there, I still want to meet them. Right. You know what I mean? So things like that, like just don't network to get anything back. Network to be a friend, or network to be just a human. Just be. Yeah. That's kind of my concept.
That's wild. And I think that's the best networking strategy I've ever heard. Because I know you as a person. We've been homies for a while. But when I see you on Instagram and when you're hanging out with these people who I know, I know of them because they're popular, I'm like, what does Ruben do? Like, I've always thought, what the freak is his network strategy? Because I think I've fallen into the thing that a lot of people who want to pursue, whatever dream they're doing, into the whole, strategy this, strategy that, how to take notes, how to like, be more productive, like lifestyle. And it's the people like you who have the most amount of connections, and the most amount of connections is even like a weird word, but the most amount of friends who you're like, nah, bro, I just saw them on Instagram and I like what their bio and I just said what's up and that's it. Yeah. And I have a funny feeling that those like, coaches and like on network strategies probably don't really have that many friends, and they're just, in it for whatever money and whatever thing. So I think that's really cool. I think that's a good insight, and just be. Yeah. Just be. I think that's so cool, man. And I think the way I want to wrap this up, I prepared something here. I want to talk about, I have answers for this, but I want to ask you this question and we'll wrap it up here. But as one of my top 5 coffee places, I want to hear, what are your, and we're in if you don't know, I mean, most of y'all who are watching are in Dallas, but we're in Dallas, Texas. What are your top 5 coffee shops? Micro, mobile, brick and mortar, doesn't matter, in general. Ooh. In the DFW.
I hope they don't hear this.
Or we could even go down to Austin or San Antonio.
So okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah. My favorite coffee shop in the world.
I want top 5, but this is your one.
My number one coffee shop that I swear by, that it does not get any better than this. These guys have perfected the bean.
It's Goodnews Cup.
No, no, it's not me. I'm not there yet. Once I get into roasting, then maybe it will be me. Oh, but it's the total package, and I genuinely think there's tons of great coffee shops in Dallas, but I think Flat Track in Austin is my favorite coffee shop. These guys just perfected the bean. Yeah. They know how to roast.
Well, their branding is sick.
Their branding is sick. Yeah. The owner lives in Fort Worth. Super cool guy. We go hang out all the time. But I think Flat Track itself, the branding, the package, who they are as people, excel. Like, I just think they're the tier that I want to be one day. Like, they have the Flat Track, man, these guys are genuine, like, good friends, good people. Love coffee, love the excellence in like presentation and culture and all that. So I think, to me, number one, hands down, has to be Flat Track. It's my favorite.
I didn't even know. I think that's so cool. I didn't even know they had a coffee shop. I thought it was just they were just a roastery.
Oh no, they have cool. Yeah, and then they have a sister store, like it's called Palomino Coffee, like maybe 5 miles from Flat Track, but it's a different concept. It's like Spanish, Oh wow. It's like Spanish kind of New Mexico, like that clay feel. Wow. So it's like a different concept, but it's super cool.
Dang. So Flat Track, number one. All right. And I'm saying this because I want people, if people have listened this far into it, they probably do like coffee to some extent.
So so look up at Flat Track Coffee. Okay. Number 2, the first 2 are out of the country, but number 2 are out of the city. Number 2 is Woodcat Coffee in California. Those are just, I mean, one, because they're my friends.
Yeah. No, dude, it doesn't have to be Texas.
Yeah. But one, they're my friends. But 2, their concept is really cool. It's called Woodcat Coffee in California for Sunset Boulevard. It's a really cool concept coffee shop. The people are genuine. The wife Jenny is amazing. So it's just really good experience there. Number 3, local. I would have to say George Coffee. Aesthetically, the building it's a vibe.
Yeah.
You walk in there, it's not just coffee, but it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
With George.
George's Coffee and Provisions, right?
Yeah,
That's
George Coffee and Provisions.
Yeah.
I love their coffee.
They're fire.
Locally, probably my favorite ones. I would say Ola Cafe for the concept of a micro coffee shop. I love it. Like that's probably, if I wasn't doing mobile, I would want to do like a micro coffee shop, low overhead. And
they do the little bottles, right? The to-go bottles.
The to-go bottles as well.
Yeah.
And then I say my 5th one, if I were going to a coffee shop, I would go to I'll go to Ola. Can't go to Austin every weekend.
You can.
Yeah, I can. And then let me see, what other coffee shop I visit to? Oh, Chaman Coffee.
Oh.
So Chaman Coffee's in Bishop Arts.
Oh
yeah. I'm there half the time. But the cool thing about them is that they do a new Mexico City kind of experience. So a lot of their foods and their eats are Mexico City, but the coffee is from Mexico.
Wow.
If where's it from? I can't think. I don't want to butcher it, but the coffee beans are from Mexico. They have cafe de olla. They have different, there's different cool treats that are Mexican based, but it's called Chaman Coffee off of Jefferson.
Okay.
And then, but it's super cool.
Jefferson? There's another one on Jefferson that I really like. It's called Cultivar.
Cultivar's good.
Fire. Yeah. And then what's my favorite? Dude, my favorite coffee. I don't know if you've been. It's in Bishop. It's literally on Bishop. It's called Espumoso.
Espumoso, yeah.
You've been there?
Yes.
I feel like they're one of the only ones who do café con leche, which is like the really. Oh, dude, wait! Before we leave, I have to tell people about your thing, and this is your signature drink. It's got to be your signature.
Oh,
drink,
it is.
Right? But the dirty horchata.
It's number 1 in Dallas.
Oh wow, that's facts. Honestly though, what is that? Okay, so first of all, horchata, if y'all don't know, it's like a Mexican drink, and it's really good. It's rice water, right?
Yeah, it's just technically rice water, cinnamon, or vanilla.
Okay.
So that's kind of the fundamental of the drink.
So how does that play into Good News?
So there's a wave happening right now, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. You can edit this if you want. But vegan horchata is not horchata.
Oh no, I'm not editing that out. Vegan anything isn't anything.
It's not. I'm sorry, guys. Some of my friends sell this stuff, and I'm sad. But vegan horchata is not horchata. If there's no dairy in your horchata, it's not horchata. It's just water. It's just water with a little bit of cinnamon.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So unfortunately, a lot of shops, because of the vitality of the drink itself, it doesn't last. The shelf life isn't long when you use dairy. So people come up with different alternative ways to make it last longer because of.
Bro, I think that's why veganism is becoming such a big thing.
Yeah, because it lasts long.
Bro, my almond milk is still chilling in my fridge after 2 months.
Yeah. Like if you look at almond milk, the expiration date, like what's one? We're in March 15th. When you buy almond milk, it's like July.
Bro,
it's like August.
Mine's October. I don't know what yours is.
It's just like I'm just like, bro, like this is not real milk. It's just water with a little. So I'm afraid to say that if you have vegan horchata, it's not real.
Screw you.
And
Good News is better. You're trash.
So what makes me unique and what kind of quote unquote maybe popular is my horchata. It's made with a couple different other elements outside of the core of horchata.
Wow. And
that's what makes the texture so unique and the silkiness of it. So I just told people. I genuinely feel like I will go head to head with any horchata. Like I'll challenge anybody, and I genuinely feel like I'm the best. Like I
agree.
It's just good. Like, and I've drank horchata my entire life,
of course,
and nothing's better than mine. So I always tell people.
And then wait, but your drink is just horchata and then espresso.
Espresso, yeah. Just you call it dirty horchata. Keep it simple. But the cool thing, what a lot of coffee shops do wrong when it comes to horchata has already a base of cinnamon, a base of vanilla, a base of the rice, so grainy, earthy taste, so at its foundation. But the problem is they put an espresso shot that doesn't complement that. So the reason I like Flat Track is because their beans provide a chocolatey note, a little bit of chocolate, a graham cracker, dark cherry feels, which complements all those.
Wow.
Cherry and vanilla cola. It's popular.
Yeah, that's fine.
So those combinations, those flavors amplify each other and they dance. Versus if you get a Peruvian bean, it may clash with the horchata. So technically, espresso with horchata, but they clash. So people don't take those under.
Mm.
I've thought of it at a molecular level. Okay, what can I complement the horchata with the espresso bean?
Dang.
Like, I want them to dance and not fight with each other.
Right.
So when people say, "Oh my God, like you had the best horchata," it's because I've spent so much time and I've tried every coffee bean and understood why my horchata tastes better with these specific beans.
Wow, dude, that's wild. And it's so cool how even the concept of coffee has gone so niche and like so, bro, like it's a bean.
Yeah.
Like it's a fruit. And I think that's in life, in everything. I think it's so cool how if you really focus on something, you can really make as much as you want out of it as you can. Like, you're over here talking about water and calcium and what's the other one?
Magnesium.
That's wild. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that people go that deep into it, but it's crazy how much it's blowing up. And dude, I'm excited for you and for your business and for Goodnews Cup to keep going. You're a truck, you have a truck, and that's your staple, but you don't just do your truck, right?
No.
I mean,
there's other things that are happening. I won't get into much detail, but I have a couple trailers being built out right now as we speak. So it's gonna be like a little army of Goodnews trucks and people. But my heart and vision behind this, it's now I want to empower other people.
Wow.
The problem with business, I'm not scared to give my life savings away for an idea, but a lot of people are not like me.
Right.
So what I want to do is provide mobile experiences for, let's say you tag, hey man, Ruben, I want to start a mobile coffee truck. Hey, before you buy anything, invest $1,000 into rent my truck for a month and see if you really want to do it.
That's cool.
And if you do want to do it, I'll sell you the truck for X amount of dollars.
Wow.
And so I want to build like a fleet of these and just constantly rotating them.
Dang.
So I want to give people that are scared, like, hey, rent it for a month or two. See if you really want to do it. Start your Instagram, start your website, and then start promoting yourself. And if you just need to rent it one-offs, or just rent it one-offs.
That's so cool. That's so niche. One thing I've been learning recently, I've always thought of like, because when you follow like the Gary V's of the world, which are just people who just talk about business, they don't talk about how you can be really successful in one really tiny little community of people. I thought about it the other day and I was like, dang, if I have 1,000 followers on Instagram who are truly 1,000 followers, and I put out a $10 course on how to take photos, that's a lot of money. So like, I just think it's so cool how you're like making the most out of even just like, because the niche is pretty small of the amount of people in a city who want to make a coffee business. Right. But you're making a whole model for that. And it's going to blow up. And I just think it's so cool how, I don't know. I think it's just something I missed growing up. I just thought, big, but really the ways you really get the most success is when you really hammer in on one little thing.
Exactly.
That's what you're doing. And you're killing it.
To what you said earlier, there's so many people out there that would kind of suck you in and then make you pay. Like, there's tons of good schools out there, but it's just like for example, there's a school that charges you like $7,000 for latte art classes. I'm like, bro, it's
Holy
like,
smokes.
come on, bro. Like,
7,000.
yeah, it's like, I mean, God knows how much
That's
it
your whole
is.
truck.
Yeah, but I'm like, come on, guys. Like, so my thing is that I just want to help as many people as I can. That who are too scared to start a business. Like, hey, just try it out. It may not be for you. Like, here's the cool thing. If it's not, it's okay. But at least Like, my biggest fear before we close is my biggest fear is having, when I'm 80, what if? Like, what if I would have started this business? Would my life be different? What if I would have done this? I don't want to have any regrets. I'd rather tell my grandkids, hey, I failed at 1,000 things, but I did these 4 things that put me where I'm at today and made me happy. Dude. So that's what, like, I just don't want to have, and I want to challenge anyone listening to this, don't have any what ifs in life. I don't, like, man, what if I would have started this business? What if I would have done this? What if I would have, created this brand, or started this concept, or built this app, or whatever your what ifs is? I just don't want to have any. Ruben does not want to have any what ifs when he dies.
That's real.
Or when I'm on my deathbed, I want to say, man, I lived life to the fullest, to the best of what I could with my resources, and I just enjoyed life, bro. And I think that's that's kind of my advice at the end of the day. Like, just live life, understand your resources, and just enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of learning. Enjoy the process of understanding the coffee world and making new friends. Because at the end of the day, I can tell if someone's using me or someone genuinely wants to be my friend.
Right.
So it's just like, just be your friend. Just be friends with people, and then life has a way to giving you blessings. That's
real, dude. I remember in 6th grade, I had this English teacher. His name was Mr. Dodd. Shout out Mr. Dodd. And he was that teacher. You know how there's like teachers who just go through the curriculum, and then there's the other ones that just talk about their life. and somehow tie it into the lesson. That was him.
Yeah.
Those are always my favorite teachers. And he talked about how he was in the Army, how he, you know, I don't remember everything he did, but he did a lot. He was like Forrest Gump, like no joke. That's who he was. And he said, and he told us, and there's something that I think got ingrained in my head, but it's like, he said, if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's good.
And it reminds me of you, like what you're doing, what you're saying, because I mean, really, if you're not having a good time doing it, you probably shouldn't be doing it, period. Even if it's making X amount of money, if it's giving you X amount of followers, if it's giving you whatever, you know, it's not as valuable as joy. And I think as long as, you know, you're doing what you can to have fun and to enjoy your life, like you said, you have a life. Like, it's like everything else is just kind of extra and just like whatever. But like, you know, you love music. You've done music in 1,000 different areas or whatever. You love this, and I love how you always go all in whenever you want to do something, and people are just scared to do that. So I love your mindset. I love everything about what you're doing. Again, I think Goodnews Cup is gonna be even bigger than you think. Yeah. And I can't wait to be here for you to come back on it. You know, episode 50 or 100, and then so we can talk about how you
definitely have to pay me, bro.
Hey, dang, dude. Hopefully you want to pay me. You know what I'm saying?
At that point, you have to pay me to get me on this show.
That's wild.
No, but just to close out, I think Pastor Ben says this. You don't like. He says this in an application to the church, right? You don't have to be here. We get to be here. So like, I don't have to do Goodnews Cup. I get to do Goodnews Cup. Dude. So it's that mindset. Like, I don't have to do it because at the end of the day, there's hundreds of jobs online that I can do at websites. So, you know, I get to build it for Calvary Church. I get to build a Goodnews Cup. I get to do these cool things in life. But one day, if one day the Goodnews Cup is not making me happy anymore, I close the doors and go on to the next chapter. So I think like, at the end of the day, I do not care what Tag thinks about me. I do not go to bed thinking, oh my God, is Tag's worried about me. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go to bed happy. Like, man, this is the craziest 4 years of my life. Now I have stories for days of every little adventure I did in this. But I'm able to close the chapter and then start something new. So it may be a taco truck. It may be a churro truck. You know, God knows what it is. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think the fundamentals, I get to do what I do. And the day that what I've learned through Pastor Ben is that if it doesn't bring me happiness, just go on to the next thing.
When it becomes a have to.
Yeah, when it becomes a have to. Then you're noticing you got to check yourself, you know? Yeah. So I just think anyone listening to this, be nice, dream big, don't let your resources limit you. And then, and everything will come to pass. I mean, genuinely, that's how I live life. Yeah. So because I'm not rich, I'm not a millionaire, but somehow I have a truck full-blown espresso bar inside. So explain that to me. You can't. I couldn't. Yeah.
Because you got a check from a dude at a coffee shop.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. Well, it was awesome having you.
Thank you.
I want to give you a chance here to just plug everything you're doing and everything you want to do and all that, and just let it be known on the socials.
Yeah, for sure. If you just want to follow me on Instagram at Goodnews Cup, it's at Goodnews Cup, and then there you can find my website, find everything else, or if that, you can go to goodnewscup.com.
All right. Awesome. Well, it was nice talking to you. Good conversation.
I'll see you. I can't wait to listen to this episode.
All right.
Cue music.